Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another daily tropical update from the Hurricane Watch team. We have multiple areas of concern that we need to discuss today, so let's start. First, we're going to start off with Hurricane Darby. And Darby has really been gradually weakening over the ocean surface. Temperatures are now only at around 26 degrees centigrade, 80.5 degrees Fahrenheit roughly. Satellite imagery shows the eye filled in, and the extent of satellite imagery shows that the eye, the satellite imagery shows the eye filled in, and the extent of cold cloud tops has shrunk since our last upload. Now, really, although in recent hours the storm is attempting a last-ditch attempt to intensify again by trying to clear out an eye. A speedometer passed at 5:45 a.m. UTC over the inner core revealed a small, very small storm. The vortex CI really estimating the intensity of Darby is now at around 90 knots, pushing at around 105 miles per hour. However, objective satellite estimates the range between 82 and 87 knots and have been decreasing. The initial intensity has been lowered to 85 knots to represent a blend of all the estimates in the current trend. Now, the less conducive environmental conditions appear to be taking a toll on Darby. Now, based on the satellite imagery, Darby is expected to remain over the unfavorable SSTs, and these factors should also continue to gradually weaken Darby over the next day or so. The wind shear is predicted to increase quickly in a couple of days, which should rapidly weaken Darby into a remnant low in around 72 hours or 3 days. Now, given the small size of this cyclone, it would not really be surprising if Darby weakened even faster than indicated. Darby continues to move westward at around 14 knots, while it is steered by a subtropical ridge to its north over the next 24 hours. The system is expected to reach a slight weakness in the ridge and turn west-northwestward temporarily, but later turn west again and follow the low-level steering flow until it dissipates. The National Hurricane Center track forecast it slightly south of the previous prediction beyond 36 and close to the model consensus 8s. What impacts could there be to Hawaii? I want to talk about that also because I do know a lot of people would certainly be worried about this, given that this is going to be getting closer to Hawaii. But there you can see the eye starting to shrink in a little bit and starting to close up. An estimate of 1 to 2 inches, anywhere from 25 to about 50 millimeters of rain. Winds of anywhere from 25 to 30 miles per hour, about 40 to 48 kilometers per hour. Gusting 35 to 40 miles per hour. That's about 56 to about 64 kilometers an hour. Waves are up to possibly up to 6 feet, which is about roughly around 1.8 meters. And obviously the rip currents are going to be a big threat. So if you are vacationing in Hawaii, we recommend you to stay away from the ocean, to stay away from the beach. As the storm does get closer, it's going to create some pretty big rip currents, and that's going to be very dangerous to life. The Hurricane Watch team will keep you updated, so stay tuned for all those tropical updates that we will continue to give on Hurricane Darby weakening and approaching Hawaii. I do want to talk a little bit about the Gulf of Mexico. We've been talking about the system here in the Gulf of Mexico, the northern and central Gulf. It is continuing to fall apart. Thankfully, unfortunately, the biggest threats are going to remain the same, which are going to be heavy rain. So we've been talking about the surface trough that was extending from the Florida Panhandle west-southwestward along the northern Gulf Coast continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the northern Gulf of Mexico and adjacent line areas. The surface trough is forecasted to drift northward during really the next days, over the next several days. And significant development is really not likely due to the system's proximity to land. It is actually making landfall right now as we speak. If we click on here, you can see the X is right there, halfway over land, halfway over the water. So it is now moving inland over southern Alabama right now. Southwest Alabama, I should say. So regardless of development, again, it's not going to develop, but the heavy rains will pose a risk of flash flooding along portions of the northern Gulf Coast from Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle over the next several days. I actually want to go to the National Weather Service and take a look and see what we got down here. That's the Storm Prediction Center, NACO, the National Weather Service, and talk a little bit about, just a little bit, I want to make this super duper quick, about the flooding pose and the flooding risk. Actually, there's no watches and warnings on here. Actually, yes, there is. Rip currents, very, 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 very high, all across from Dauphin Island all the way into Destin. I believe that is Florida. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Alabama. Yeah, Pensacola is in Florida. Destin is definitely in Florida. So, rip currents are really, really high. Tropical update, again, it's got a 0% possibility of developing. Literally nothing. It's not going to develop. But really, regardless, there is an elevated risk of flash flooding along the coast of Alabama and along the coast of Alabama and Florida, and a slight and limited risk of flooding across portions of southeast Mississippi, western and southwestern portions of Alabama, and the northwestern portions of Florida Panhandle. But as you can see, these are the towns that are in the risk. Well, I just want to say thank you for watching this video this far. Just let you know that if this video has been useful to you so far, like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to click on the notification bell to get notified when a new video or live stream comes out. Thanks again. I want to go over and talk a little bit about some of the developing systems going on in the Eastern Pacific. So we do have this system now at a 30% chance of developing in the next 48 hours. It is at an 80% chance in the next 5 days. They're saying a broad area of low pressure. Actually, is this a new invest? I want to just double check this because I actually... No, it is not a new invest. Okay, I was just really curious about that. Alright, so there's a broad area of low pressure currently located a few hundred miles south of the coast of Guatemala, and it is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Now, the environmental conditions really do appear conducive for gradual development during the next several days, and this system is likely to become a tropical depression towards the end of the week or into the weekend. The disturbance is forecast to drift westward for the next day or two, and then move west-northwestward at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now, later this week, while remaining offshore the southern coast of the southern and southwest coast of Mexico. So that's what we have for this. It's really going to remain offshore. However, it is going to probably produce a lot of heavy rain along Guatemala, El Salvador area, southern Mexico. Rip currents are going to be a big threat, and those are really going to be the big threats. This is not going to be, bringing direct impacts to Mexico. It's not going to be making landfall. It's going to be riding the east coast, or the west coast, I should say, the western coast of Mexico. So as you can see here, if we go into time, on the left you have Darby, which is weakening and falling apart, and then you get this new storm, which does seem to really intensify itself pretty quickly there, as you can see, in the 960s and 970s, and it thankfully begins to fall apart rather quickly. Unfortunately, another system right behind it begins to develop. There's a lot of lift happening in the atmosphere right now. I'm going to go over and talk a little bit about what we have remaining of Invest 90W. I don't know why this is so zoomed in. So you can clearly see, look at these upper level winds screaming across. And that's the wind shear which is ripping the storm completely apart. MS 90W is currently to the east of the Philippines. It's actually no longer to the east of the Philippines. It's south of Taiwan. And has lost all its chances of formation. The GEFS, the GEPS, and the European model guidance is in pretty good agreement that the system will track towards the north to northwest over the next 24 to 48 hours, maintaining intensity or slightly intensifying, and then turn northeast towards Japan right after it passes Taiwan, and to the east, turning extratropical. So really, this thing is just going to completely fall apart. You can see a little bit of broad rotation right here. Right in this area, there's a little bit of rotation. It's a lot easier if I go to water vapor. Actually, it's not any easier. It's really hard to see this. Maybe visible shortwave. You can see a little bit of broad rotation. regardless, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart well before it even does anything. It's falling apart right now, obviously. There is actually a little bit of severe weather that we want to talk about. There is a chance of severe weather, and that's something I want to talk about. There we go. Just put in the cities. That's too many cities. Okay. It's like, okay, that's too many cities. Okay. So there's some severe weather is expected, and it is going to be more widespread today in the Canadian prairies. There we go. Western and central Montana, and as well as portions over Mississippi and Alabama of the United States today. And today, the main dangers of those regions won't actually be tornadoes, thankfully. The biggest threats are going to be the flash flooding, the damaging winds, and the possibility of some large hail. And the storms will be most active from the afternoon into the evening. But we do want to talk a little bit about some other stories that we are looking at today. Some very, very interesting news is coming out today about some models that I want to talk a little bit about. I guess I'll just put this on because I guess it's the most interesting thing to look at. So the H-Wharf and the H-Mod models are actually going to be getting discontinued soon after over 10 years of them helping to predict the track of tropical cyclones around the world. They've had a very long history. The H-Wharf and the H-Mod models have been replaced by new, better, and more accurate HAFS, the Hurricane Analysis and Forecast System model. Now, HAFS, or HAFS, I guess you could call it HAFS, will be a multi-scale model and data assimilation package capable of providing analysis to forecast of the inner core structure of the tropical cyclone out to 7 days, which is key to improving the size and intensity predictions, as well as the large-scale environment that is known to influence tropical cyclones' motion. HAFS will provide an operational analysis and forecast system up to 7 days before hurricane forecasters with reliable, robust, and skillful guidance on tropical cyclone track and intensity, including RI, also known as rapid intensification, storm size, genesis, storm surge, rainfall, and tornadoes associated with tropical cyclones. It will provide an advanced analysis and forecast system for cutting-edge research on modeling, physics, data assimilation, and coupling to Earth system components for high-resolution tropical cyclone predictions. Now, some of the objectives for establishing an operational HAFS, HAFS, are to advance deterministic, can't even pronounce this word, deterministic, there we go, and ensemble prediction capabilities of up to 7 days. Enable fusion of modeling, data assimilation, and observations to produce an analysis of record and improve statistical post-processing methods to extract guidance and uncertainty information. The HAFS will replace the HWF and HMO models on the third quarter of this year, which is going to be in September of 2022. Now, that's really all the news we have for you right now. Don't forget that we also have a Discord server where you can chat with the team and the community. The link is in the description below. We have a Patreon page too. For only $1 a month, you can get exclusive benefits to keep the channel going. And if you don't want or can't support us that way, even as little as subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, clicking on that notification bell, sharing our videos, and commenting out helps a lot. Thanks for watching, and remember, we are the Hurricane Watch Team, your source for cyclone information. Peace out.